It's 19 hours GMT. Hello and welcome to News 360 from the News Hub here at Adesanwe in Accra. I am Isa Moni.
And I am Portia Gabo. Coming up, the headlines. And 2-year exercise to clean up banking sector costs the state 12 billion cedis.
Also in the bulletin tonight, we'll tell you more about vagina steaming, a practice gradually gaining popularity among the youth.
On mission tonight, students of Bankoman Senior High School use a community center and an old Presby School block as dormitories owing to inadequate infrastructure.
And later in international news, UN Security Council divided over how to react to Democratic Republic of Congo's presidential election problems.
We have details coming up shortly. Do stay with us.
Right, we have details including sports and entertainment coming up this hour. Just stay with us and we begin the news right away. Residents of Pokuase in the Greater Accra region have expressed concern over the poor state of roads and the community public toilet. The residents have appealed for urgent action to be taken to protect lives and property.
Kwase have become unsafe for drivers and pedestrians alike. The bumpy nature of the road, drivers say, affects their income as they have to make frequent visits to mechanics. Buama Kweku, a driver who plies the route daily, complained the situation is affecting his sales. He pleaded for government intervention.
Our
roads are terrible. We humbly ask that the road is tarred. The poor state of the road is affecting our businesses. We always have to buy spare parts.
Napoleon Dele, the owner of this sport, also laments that the nature of the road is making life unbearable.
When there are emergency cases, you can't even drive as fast to the hospital to save life. And you have to save life by driving. If you go good road, you save life by reaching to timely care, beating the time to the hospital. But with this, how can you take a pregnant woman and how can you speed with this road? You would rather kill the pregnant woman.
Meanwhile, a public toilet located by the roadside also presents a whole new set of challenge. The facility has developed huge cracks, posing danger to users. Yet in this state, patrons still pay 50 pesos to use the place. A local food vendor, Hannah Chewa, complained of the stench from the toilet.
There are no toilets in the neighborhood. This is the only one around. We ask that the place is kept well so the stench is minimized.
A hardware retailer, Edward J-Boy, complained nothing has been done to manage the facility. He called for urgent intervention.
We need help. Worms are always coming from the facility. People are always getting sick. We ask that the authorities intervene before this gets out of control.
The Kwame Nkrumah Circle interchange area has become a haven for the socially neglected. The development has become a nuisance for a cross-section of the public, drivers and traders who conduct business in the area.
The Kwame Nkrumah interchange is a 3-tier interchange constructed to decongest the area of both human and vehicular traffic. It is one of the longest and highest flyovers in West Africa. The interchange project also included some ancillary projects such as an iconic monument of the first president of the Republic, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and a dancing fountain to serve as a tourist attraction. However, close to 3 years after the inauguration of the facility, every available space at the interchange area has become a haven for socially neglected persons who are struggling to survive in the capital city. Some traders and a cross-section of the public who spoke off camera said these persons indiscriminately dump refuse and plastic bags containing urine and fecal matter at the area, a situation that poses health risks. Stones that have been fixed under the overpass to deter pedestrians from walking at unauthorized portions are not spared by these socially neglected persons. Aside the invasion of the area by these persons, it appears the place has not been well maintained. Pedestrians have also turned lawns into a walkway. So what are city authorities doing about this development?
The gender ministries and AMA is going to make sure these people, those who have been deported from foreigners to come and will take them out of the street and make sure the vision of the president that Accra become the cleanest city in Africa will come to pass.
Head of AMA Rapid Response Unit, Moses Abo, disclosed plans by the Assembly to decongest the area.
But 15th of January will ensure, talk to our mothers, our traders, our sisters, they will go back to their respective.
For now, it appears city authorities must step up their efforts if indeed they want Accra to be one of the cleanest cities in Africa. Joycelyn Wood, TV3 News, Accra.
And now, authorities at the Animal Production Directorate of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture say they would dispatch officers to the Yellow Krobo district to investigate the destruction of crop farms by cattle. This follows concerns by farmers in the district about the gradual invasion of their farms by cattle heads in the last 3 years.
It was a sad scene at Agomeda, Somanya in the Yellow Krobo district of the Eastern region. This cattle herd devoured a 2-acre maize farm of its produce for the season. Both farm owner and cattle herdsmen were not present at the time of destruction. According to residents, the situation has been occurring for the past 3 years. They fear any immediate reaction may spark violence. Kweku Katibi is an opinion leader in the town.
It has been happening for the past 3 years. We don't know the owners of the cattle, but we would hold a meeting soon to see how to resolve it.
Director of the Animal Production Directorate of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture says immediate steps will be taken to ensure the situation does not escalate.
If we don't intervene immediately, it could escalate to what happened in the Afram Plains area. Because once somebody is farmed his crops and a herdsman brings his animals into his farm to destroy his crops, he gets agitated and it could result in a conflict. So what we need to do is immediately send people to Somanya to see the situation, quickly involve the local government.
Chairman of the Ghana Cattle Ranching Committee expressed worry about the development. He said the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, in collaboration with the local government ministry, is currently developing some bylaws that will guide cattle rearing in the country.
The Ministry for Local Government has prepared bylaws on cattle production, for that matter, livestock production in the country, so that anybody who is keeping cattle will do it under some sort of confinement. But then, if you don't have that and you're keeping them elsewhere, then they should also be on a grazing reserve.
In recent times, the country has recorded a number of clashes between nomadic herdsmen and some community members in various regions across the country, prompting a debate on how to resolve the issue. Sarah Paku, TV3 News, Somanya.
Let's go to the Ashanti region, where a section of the Nwea town roads in the Kwabri East municipality have been rendered virtually unmotorable.
Esha is one of the 42 communities in the Kwabri East municipality in the Ashanti region with deplorable road networks. The roads have no drainage system, exposing the topsoil to erosion. Vehicles are challenged in plying the roads because of deep gullies and trenches. Sick persons have to be carried to health facilities.
When you want to do anything, you need to convey the materials on foot before you get to the area you want to take them to. If someone is sick over here, it's hard to convey the person to the hospital unless we carry the person.
Member of Parliament for Kwabre East, Francisca Otemensa, acknowledged roads in the constituency are in bad shape. She says efforts have been made to get the major roads rehabilitated. The MP added 2 of the roads have so far been awarded on contract.
Very fortunately, we've been able to get most of the estimates and we forwarded it to the appropriate authority. So far, we've had about 3 of our roads being approved.
Let's remain in the Ashanti region, and firefighters cannot tap into water supply in the central business district of Kumasi because all fire hydrants in the city center are not functioning. Personnel of the fire service were challenged in accessing hydrants in recent fire outbreak at Edum PZ, which destroyed 11 shops. Officials are exploring measures to ensure water is available to tackle fire emergencies in the city. A report by Benjamin Aidu.
During the recent fire outbreak in Edum Plaza, the firefighters discovered the only functioning fire hydrant was under low pressure. Other hydrants had been blocked by traders who have mounted structures on them to display their wares. Ashanti Regional Commander of the Fire Service, Joshua Ngoa, called on the Ghana Water Company to revamp all dysfunctional water hydrants in the city.
Corporate institutions to help us build mechanized boreholes at vantage points, more especially areas which don't have water. We can do this, we can build these mechanized boreholes, and in terms of firefighting, rely on them.
He was also unhappy with the number of fire incidents recorded, but says education will be intensified to reduce the figures.
Fire is a very good servant that you can handle, but a very bad master when it gets angry. We should always try and do things as we say. One thing that we are trying to do that these days, we've moved officers who are coming door to door to educate the populace about what to do and what not to do.
Away from the Ashanti region, teachers at the Tebu MA Basic Schools continue to depend on commercial motorbike services, popularly known as Okada, from Domiabra to and from school daily, nearly 1.5 years after TV3's expose on their predicament. Peter Kwao Adato reports some teachers reside as far as Kaswa and Winneba in the central region, a situation mitigating effective teaching and learning.
Tebu Basic School is the only public basic education facility serving the scattered settler community in the South municipality. It is located at a central point about 15 kilometers from Domiabra. The remotely sited Tebu Basic School began in 2005 by a private individual, but was ceded to government in 2011, attracting 8 fair standard block. However, the lack of decent accommodation compelled teachers to reside in different communities far from the school. Some teachers still reside at Kanishi, Kaswa, Domiabra, and Binchra, all in the Greater Accra region. Others are at Papase and Gumwa Bujumburam in the central region. Aside the cost of normal public transport from communities both in the Greater Accra and central regions, each teacher would have to book a motorbike at Domiabra at a fee ranging between 10 and 15 cedis per day.
From our own pocket. By the end of the money, we normally use almost our salary is going for this Okada business.
Almost 2 years on, the situation remains same. Apart from financial burden on teachers, reporting time to school is also affected due to length each teacher has to cover each day to school. And the PTA chairman is worried.
We already have a JHS block. What we desire now is accommodation for teachers. When this is done, it will keep the teachers closer to the pupils to improve their contact hours. We have enough land to take care of the accommodation need.
Again, of concern to the school is lack of potable water. This borehole sunk in 2016 has since not been functioning, compelling pupils to spend hours to fetch water once the harvested rainwater in these polytanks is exhausted. In spite of all these challenges, the school, we were told, is doing well academically. The Tebu school scored 100% twice in their maiden BEC in 2017 and also in 2018.
And the Omahin of the Sefirioso traditional area, Ketechie Kwesi II, says the choice of a capital for the newly created Western North region is going to be a collective one. He explains the area will be a place with an appreciable level of infrastructure development.
Residents of Sefirioso and 8 other districts in the Western region voted overwhelmingly in support of the creation of the Western North region. Their major reason was their frustrations in accessing the Western Regional Capital Sekondi Takoradi. The choice of a regional capital is creating conflict in some areas. But Omahene for Sefirioso Ketechie Kwesi Bomangama II believes the location of a capital should not lead to division.
To create a region or a capital, there are some facts that you have to give it out. You understand me? So it's not just that you mention a name that that there should be a capital and it to be endorsed. They have to look for certain factors before they endorse it as a capital.
He says the people of the Western North have been demanding the division for the past 40 years, adding that now that their wish has been granted, they will be patient as it will take time for the offices that will be created to be fully functional.
Even we are ready to give out buildings on our own for the offices and everything. We have a vast land to be given for all these projects. So for now, we are not going to push the government. All that we needed is the region, and it has been given to us now.
Ketechie Bomangama II maintains the relationship between them and the people in the south will still be cordial.
You're watching News 360, also on channel 279 on DSTV. Still to come tonight.
You know, even when you sit on even hot water, you see how you feel. Yeah, so this is beyond even sitting on the hot water.
If it could tighten it for a man to be happy, then we have no problem.
Well, we'll tell you more about vagina steaming, a practice gradually gaining popularity amongst the youth.
On mission tonight, students of Bankuman Senior High School used a community center and an old Presby School block as dormitories owing to inadequate infrastructure.
And UN Security Council divided over how to react to Democratic Republic of Congo's presidential election problems. 360, and now let's look at this subject. Very interesting one, they say. Vagina steaming. And they say it's a culture practiced by most nursing mothers to heal their postpartum wounds, and that is gradually being redefined to provide a soothing warmth. Now, but apart from the warmth it provides, are there other benefits? Here's what Adjoa Adobia has been finding out.
Vaginal steaming is an ancient women's health practice that involves sitting over warm steaming herbs. Current research shows that it is a traditional practice in at least 28 countries worldwide. It is said to cleanse the vagina and uterus, regulate menstruation, and ease period cramps and bloating. Although steaming varies from place to place, it is universally used after giving birth. Most often administered by midwives, the popularity of postpartum steaming is highly known.
Vaginal steaming, it helps the mother to regain its pre-pregnant state by the uterus coming back to its normal state. And also, if you see after delivery, you get a bit of bruises and other things. So we advise that you do that. A lot of people are not really practicing it. I learned this just recently that a celebrity outside just tried it and the person came up with this thing, and a lot of people are now going into it.
The chief executive started the spa business about a month ago. I am currently going through the vaginal steaming process, and I'm sure you may be wondering what a throne and a crown is doing at a vaginal steaming center known as a spa. Well, The throne, which is known as the power throw, is just to make you feel comfortable while you go through the process, and the crown to make you feel like the queen that you are. The vaginal steaming process is actually quite simple. It is a mixture of herbs and warm water. What are these herbs that we are talking about? We have the mugwort, we have the donkwai, we have the saffron, and the saffron specifically is an aphrodisiac. The rates for the steaming ranges from 120 to 400 cedis depending on how long the person wants to be on the seats. People who practice vaginal steaming believe the herbs can penetrate vaginal tissues and offer a variety of benefits. One of Aisha's clients, Georgina Opong, who learned about vaginal steaming on Facebook, was shocked to find out that something like that existed and decided to give it a try.
I choose exotic because I wanted to relax. Even when you sit on even hot water, you see how you feel. Yeah, so this is beyond even sitting on the hot water.
Some men reacted to the steaming process.
If it could tighten it for a man to be happy, that one we have no problem.
If it's effective, why not? If not, then there's no need for you to even waste time to sit in the warm water or whatever it is called.
Gynecologists, however, believe that vaginal steaming is unnecessary since the vagina naturally cleanses itself.
Some doctors even say that don't do anything in there because you have a natural protection. So yes, there is, but the act of sex and going up and down that route may influence the change of environment, and then there could be some infections.
According to Dr. Hineku Labi, there is no scientific evidence to suggest that vaginal steaming helps any condition, but could it be harmful?
Don't introduce unnecessary things into the vagina. You never know the other side of it. Yes, it may help, it may be soothing, it may contain certain ingredients, herbs or whatever, which may be antibacterial or improve the pH of the vagina. But to be doing it routinely, I think it's a wrong practice.
Dr. Hineku Labi urged women to consult a physician whenever they see any uncomfortable signs around the vagina.
Interesting report over there by Adjo. Isa, what do you think?
Well, I think, like the doctor said, we shouldn't overdo it. I mean, once we oversteam it, you might spoil the taste, so don't oversteam it.
What taste are you referring to here, sir?
That's vagina steaming, of course.
You're still watching NEWS360. Let's go back to our earlier story. And government says the exercise to clean up the banking sector cost the state 12 billion cedis over a 2-year period. Governor of the Bank of Ghana says this has ended the uncertainty in the banking sector.
The banking cleanup exercise had also led to the number of banks reducing from 36 in 2017 when the reform started to 23 as of January 4, 2019. In all, the state issued 3 bonds, 2.2 billion Ghana cedis in August 2017, 5.76 billion Ghana cedis in August 2018, and 1.4 billion Ghana cedis on January 4, 2019 to cover depositors' funds in banks whose licenses were revoked and their selected assets and liabilities transferred to either the Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited or the GCB Bank Limited. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Enes Adesing, explained the central bank had to take a tough but necessary decision to clean the system.
It has been an eventful last 20 months during which the Bank of Ghana has had to take the necessary bold steps to clean up the banking sector and to reposition it to support the economic growth and transformation agenda for Ghana. The just-ended recapitalization exercise has repositioned the banking sector as better capitalized, liquid, stronger, and more resilient.
He expressed satisfaction that the exercise had come to a successful end, with customers not losing their investment, but admitted that the exercise had been quite an expensive one for the state.
We would also commit to enhance our supervisory systems, processes, and our teams to be better able to identify early warning signals, enforce the regulatory requirements, and ensure that prompt corrective action is taken by banks to recover quickly from any signs of distress.
The central bank, as part of the reforms, accepted a request by the GN Bank to be downgraded into a savings and loans company after the bank failed to raise a minimum capital of 400 million Ghana cedis and also revoked the licenses of Heritage and Premium Banks, who are now member banks of the consolidated bank.
Mission is brought to you by Star Ghana with funding from the NIDA, UK Aid and the EU. We begin from the Ashanti region, where inadequate infrastructure is a major challenge hindering development of Bankoman Senior High School in the Setre-Kumewu district. There are no dormitories for students on the compound, compelling them to use a community center and an old Presby school block. Bright Nana Amfo reports controlling students is a problem.
A student population of 1,900. The main problem is infrastructure. Classrooms, the biggest headache. Teachers cannot move while teaching.
At the moment, the school has 15 classrooms. The dining hall has been converted into a temporary classroom because of the large number of students that we have. Last year, when we admitted the Form 1 students, the general art students were all converged at the dining hall because of lack of classrooms.
This is a dining hall converted into a classroom.
This is breakfast at Bankoman Senior High School here. This is what happens. Over 1,900 students virtually eating without any supervision. No manners or courtesies observed at all. This is what happens at breakfast, lunch, and supper. School authorities say they have appealed several times to those who can help to come in and save the situation. But it still remains the same.
These young ones would have to endure this every day. Meals are served, and sometimes controlling them is a challenge. Students don't get food to eat.
Sometimes it's difficult because we are not able to go according to the tables. And so sometimes some of the students come and they don't have when they come, what I'm trying to say is that when they come, some of them don't get the food to eat because we don't use the table. And so sometimes pressures here and there.
After struggling to eat, they go into classrooms that are not comfortable. Large class sizes make teaching and learning ineffective.
When you encounter such a situation, it becomes very difficult for teaching and learning to take place. Whenever a teacher assigns students with some work, it becomes very difficult for the teacher to mark. And even in the course of teaching, whenever there are some deviance here and there, it becomes very difficult for the teacher to do effective monitoring.
This is a Category A school, but teachers and students find themselves in a difficult condition. Certain projects that could have resolved these challenges have stalled.
There is a Get Fund project that I know if it is completed, at least it will ease the problem. And then the PTA is also building a very huge mansion over there that will solve the problem. But now, because of the collection of fees that has stopped, it has also put that project to a halt. So we are hoping that if funds should be made available and these projects are completed, it will solve that problem.
Despite the challenges, school authorities are working hard to provide some structures. The PTA continues to play a huge role. A 16-unit classroom block is under construction. Private individuals from the district and outside continue to provide infrastructure. A private person has built a dormitory for girls, but it has to be converted into a classroom. Even the SRC of the school is putting up a library to assist in developing the school. The assembly says it is strategizing to resolve the infrastructure challenges of the school.
Together with the board, of which Dr. Pokweduse is the board chairman, we've engaged him to allow the board to talk to GS so that at least, like what we've been able to do, the pavilion that we've been able to do, we can intervene in terms of such type of infrastructure.
School authorities say help is needed and it's urgent.
Since the school is not fenced, some of them, after break, you see them running to town. We've been chasing them here and there. So once the school is fenced and everything is here intact, I think academic work will go on well and the supervision too will be effective. And as you see, we lack so many facilities. So we are appealing to any philanthropy, those who can, to come to our aid, put up some structures, dormitories and classrooms for us. And I think we will do better.
As they sing the national anthem, the hope is that infrastructure will be improved to make teaching and learning effective. Bright Nanafo, TV3, Banco.
And as that's for Mission. Mission is brought to you by Star Ghana with funding from Danida, UK Aid and the EU. Thanks so much for watching.
Welcome back now to some other stories. And police in Winneba have begun investigations into a burglary at the head office of the Challenging Heights by unknown persons. The criminals made away with files containing records of accounts, beneficiaries, and other documents.
The exact date the incident occurred was not immediately known because the organization is on break for the Christmas and New Year. However, the crime was detected on the evening of Wednesday, January 2, 2019. The criminals made away with items including governance certificates, contracts, reports and files containing records of accounts and other documents, some of which dates back to 2011. The police have commenced investigation following formal complaints by management. The police appealed for public support in tracking down the perpetrators and to retrieve stolen items. President of Challenging Heights, James Kofi Annan, regretted the incident but maintained it will not sway them from their core values of service to the vulnerable. Challenging Heights has meanwhile assured the public it has backed up all its data, including all information on women, children and other beneficiaries of its interventions.
Let's go to the Ashanti region where the police in Kumasi have commenced investigations into the death of a woman at Atasimanso in Kumasi. The woman, believed to be in her mid-30s, is alleged to have drowned in a well on Thursday evening. A report by Ibrahim Abubakar.
Residents of Atasimanso were in a state of shock this morning following the mysterious death of a woman in a well. The lifeless body of the woman was found in the well when residents went to fetch water. Residents are still trying to understand how the deceased landed in the well since it was covered.
It has never happened here before. Like, we've never seen something like this before. And then this well it has been here since. And then even before, it wasn't covered. And then we didn't even experience this one. So we are all just surprised, and we don't even know the body. We've not heard from any family or anything. So we are just here. And then by the grace of God, the police has been here to just remove the body.
The deceased, who is yet to be identified, left her phone and money at the edge of the well.
We just had information that somebody had drowned in a well here. So we moved in to pick the body to mortuary and then start our investigations.
So what's next after here?
After here, we will do postmortem. We look for the family and then know where she stays and whatever might have been the cause.
Over the years, residents have relied on the said well for water, but with this incident, they may have to look for another alternative.
And now, the overlord of the Kusal traditional area, Naba Abugrago Azoka II, is appealing to government to consider creating a region for the Kusasis out of the Upper East region. The overlord believes the move will open the area for development. It's a report by Tanko Mohammed Rabiu.
The overlord made this call during his speech at this year's festival in Boko to thank God for a bumper harvest. He also commended the NPP administration for proposing 6 more new regions, which have all gotten yes votes in the just ended referendum.
I wish to call on all and sundry to maintain the same high level of energy and oneness of purpose which served as the catalyst to execute this noble agenda. The task ahead is quite Herculean and daunting. We need to tie our loin girdles and apply ourselves diligently to the task ahead.
This year's festival brought together citizens of 7 districts, majority being the Kusasis. The Upper East Regional Minister lauded the Boko Naba for establishing an educational endowment fund which has so far seen positive results. An appeal was also made from the Boko Naba to elevate the Boko West and Garu districts into municipalities.
In other news, stagnant water in abandoned mining sites at Manson Kwanta in the Amanse West district of the Ashanti region have become a concern for residents. With no effort to reclaim the exploited lands, the pits pose danger to human lives. A report by Benjamin Edu.
The devastating effects of illegal mining activities on the environment are very pronounced at Manson Kwanta and adjoining communities in the Amansian West district of the Ashanti region. The district had the highest number of galamsey operators in the Ashanti region. There is widespread evidence of polluted water bodies. Farmlands and forests have been degraded, leaving large pits. Apart from the dangers they pose to human lives, inhabitants are at risk of malaria infection. Following the lifting of the ban on small-scale mining, the paramount chief of Manson Kwanta, Nana B. Kusiapia, has appealed for increased engagement with traditional authorities for responsible mining to thrive.
About 3-5 acres. So,
our cocoa farmlands and forest reserved has been degraded due to galamsey. This time round, any person caught engaging in galamsey will not be spared.
Some farmers in the area expect immediate reclamation of the land to enable them continue with their farming activities. The youth in the area want the pits covered. Environmentalist Nana Jumo Sapon lauded the government's freeze on small-scale mining, but advocated strong policing of the sector if the reforms are to yield positive results.
Round Pavilion of the Trade Fair Center on January 4, 2019 hosted the maiden edition of Tina Festival in Accra, headlined by UK-based Ghanaian Afrobeat artist Fuse ODG. The much-awaited festival saw a great number of artists from Ghana and the diaspora. Naftali Ba has some of the highlights.
The long-sought-after musical festival, #Kente Party, was a climax of the initial This Is New Africa Tina Festival in Ghana. The 3-day event was held by the UK-based Ghanaian Afrobeat artist Fuse ODG. A side-stage performance says the party was also populated with a market fair, a display of rich African culture, including wearing the kente cloth. Kente cloths were outdoored in different styles, a key fashion invention that distinguishes the Ghanaian. The star-studded event lined up award-winning rapper Sarkodie, Joey B, British rapper Lethal Bizzle, rapper and singer Chef London, among other amazing talents, rocked the stage. Rapper Sarkodie took the whole show to a different level. Headlined act Fuse ODG thrilled patrons with a live band performance. The buzz surrounding the Tina Festival clearly shows the hashtag Kente Party is here to stay.
And the entertainment critic and representative of xylophone artist Arnold Asamoah Baidu has unequivocally told musicians who are currently on the music label to freely terminate their contract if they feel they are not getting the things they desire. Arnold admitted that Xylophone and his sister company Men's Gold are currently in some form of crisis and as a result have not been able to support the artist as they used to. In a phone conversation between Dr. Khan and Arnold Asamoah Baidu on Showbiz Extra, he stated that contracts are not shrines which do not allow people to freely get out of them when they feel so. They should just follow the due process to get out of the contract, he said. Some reprieve there for artists who want to get out. Like he said, if you don't feel comfortable, just get out. That's it for this edition of News 360.